Good evening. I'd like to call the Derry Conservation Commission meeting to order. We are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand, silence your cell phones. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, folks. We're here at the Derry Conservation Commission, and there's no one here, but if anyone needs to use emergency exits, please don't use the elevator. We'll start off introducing the commission members, starting to my right.
Paul Dion, good evening.
Rick Metz, good evening.
Bob Boonstra, good evening.
Rick, can you sit for James Degden? And Bob, you are a member, right?
I am a member.
All right, so we have four, so we have a quorum. Who's taking notes?
I am. I'm the secretary.
Okay, so Paul will take the notes as secretary. We'll start things off with approval of minutes. You guys all have the minutes. I'll take a motion for any changes on those minutes.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
So Paul made a motion, seconded by Bob. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. Chair's report and correspondence. We do have some correspondence today. One that I like the most is from SALT. We have a 24-year anniversary for the Shepherd property. So they send us a card every year, and Shepherd's 24 years, Corneliuson's 22 years, Doolittle 18 years, Caris 7, and the Hanson Cavaretta is 7 years also. So they remind us how long we've have those properties in conservation. So that was from SALT. We do have an alteration of terrain application for 57.5 Frost Road. I just put eyes on it this second, so I will, I can hand it out. I can hand it down today, but I'd like to take it with me to look at home. And I'm not sure if we're going to have time as a commission to provide commentary, because it does show that it was received on May 15th, but we can still look it over and provide comments. I'm going to send it to my right for now, and you can look at it while we're here, but I am going to take it home. There's also three other pieces of correspondence, a couple of DES letters, one for 85 Chester Road, one for 76 Chester Road, and then a follow-up letter for 76 Chester Road. I'll pass those also to my right. That's it for correspondence. Next order of business is the job description for the, it's noted as the commission liaison on the conservation agenda. This is the position that we are hoping to fill for a conservation steward, a paid conservation steward, and we're talking about what we think is the most important facets of that job description. So what I'd like to do tonight, we've had some. I'm going to pause for a second.
Better late than never, right?
I'd like to welcome Commissioner Chabot to the meeting to my left. Good evening.
Good evening.
Eileen.
So we've had, we're starting our discussion on the job description for the commission, the paid commission steward position, and we're going to be soliciting comments from other commissioners, from all the commissioners, on what they think is the most important, some of the most important traits of that job description, what it's going to be. So if someone has a wish list of what they think it should be, I'd like to get it all on paper. We're going to merge that job description into some of the stuff that we already have for the volunteer land stewards. And to make it clear, we're not looking to get rid of volunteer land stewards. We're just using that document as a boilerplate to develop a job description for the paid land steward position. So as far as the volunteer land stewards, we still appreciate their service to the commission and look forward to that continuing. So Bob, I know you sent some comments into the chair. Is there any couple of highlights that you think are most important about what this job should
Sure,
entail?
I've got them in front of me. I had about 10 comments.
You can rattle them off.
The first was, it's divided up into a tasks dependent and an essential tasks section. And I think the task dependent part is not appropriate. I think everything we put in this document ought to be under the essential tasks. So that's thing one. There's a bullet on there related to free training, which would apply to our volunteers, but is clearly not going to apply to this position. I think the most important thing is we need to add something about vendor contracts. I suggested we add the words, manage any vendor contracts awarded for maintenance or other activities related to conservation properties. I think that's an important thing for this position to deal with.
Can I interrupt you there, Bob?
I'm sorry?
So I just want to interrupt you. So on the vendor contracts, would you want the commission to still have the ultimate authority in approving those contracts, or would you want that responsibility to lie solely with this new
No, I think
highway?
that's our responsibility. I think this is the person that would manage it after we approve it.
After we approve it?
That's my view.
All right, great, thank you.
So new comments, there's a section for more information at the bottom that doesn't belong. There's two qualifications, commitment and live-in dairy. I don't think we necessarily want this person to be required to live in Derry. That's going to delete or cut down the pool.
It says live in Derry area, so I think
What's that?
it says live in Derry area. It doesn't say live in Derry.
Oh, okay, then I didn't read it
specifically,
properly. There's a comment about.
Bob, can I interrupt you one more time?
I'm sorry?
I don't even think, I mean, from my perspective, I don't even think that's germane
But
to the
it shouldn't be
position.
germane, you're right. It
Yeah,
shouldn't be.
it shouldn't be Derry area, Derry city, or anything. I don't,
Need to be close enough to be able to work
We
here,
want to
right?
find someone who's qualified,
yeah,
can
so-
do the job. That's
right,
what we're
yeah.
looking for.
Thank
Not where
you.
they live.
yeah, good, thanks.
There's a line that says document and report to one meeting a year. I think that may not be enough. I think we may want to have the person report to us formally quarterly perhaps, or maybe monthly. Monthly is probably too often, but I think once a year would not be enough. And we need to put the right title on the document. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Bob. Ricky, anything that you think is most important or very important on the job description? And I want to get people a little bit away from this document. I think there might have been a little bit of a miscommunication. When Jim and I met with Dave Karen, we said that we were going to use this document as kind of a boilerplate to develop the position. Not so much use this document as the position. So it was really just to give us some guidance on developing the position. So things that we think are important are probably not represented in this document, and things that are in this document I don't think are very important, just to make it clear on that.
Bob's made some good points, but if you look it says live in Derry area or be a regular visitor. What does that mean? So
Yeah,
Seasonal people.
yeah, I would get rid of that.
I mean, that really, a lot of this is just really germane to the volunteer land steward
Yeah, this is just a
description.
general-
And that's why you can't read too much into this to think that it would be like a conservation agent
No.
description, because it doesn't fit that.
it's not bad as a.
Well,
it's not-
again, my understanding from talking with James, even at the last non-meeting that we had,
Yeah.
was that we were using this document as a template and as a starting point.
Okay.
So that's why my edits were based on this document. But I agree with your point that a lot of the things that would be appropriate for volunteers would not be appropriate for
Yeah,
the
this
conservation office.
needs to be tightened up quite a bit to really be germane to what we're talking about.
Make it an accurate job description.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, so from, and Ricky, sorry to interrupt you, we'll get back to you. when this document was developed 5 or 6 years ago, it was skewed to doing the monitoring on the properties that are required for the folks that help us do the conservation easements on the properties. And it was also done primarily by abutters. That's why this document kind of looks the way it does. It was almost always someone that lived adjacent to a conservation property that had maybe an affinity to it or a close relationship to it. So that's why a lot of the things in this document are specific to the document. Sorry, go ahead, Rick.
I'm okay with what we're going with. I mean, it's gonna change a lot, as Paul said, it's gonna change a lot, because
Right.
right now, there's only a few of us here, so.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get to is there one thing that you think should absolutely be part of it? And then I think building from there wouldn't be a bad idea.
Rick? Could I add something? I reached out because I'm on the board of directors for the NHACC to find out if there were any, conservation agent type of descriptions out there that we might be able to use, and I did get a couple of replies. I don't have those with me tonight, unfortunately, because I just came from the beach, so I wasn't able to get home to get them. But I'd like to offer those
You
to
circulate
help
those?
build a good job description.
Great.
So,
And we're trying to get a hold of the job description for the Londonderry, the person that does this job in Londonderry. Dave is reaching out to the folks over at Londonderry to get that. Paul, do you have something?
Yeah, two things. One is trail maintenance. I think that's very important because we kind of fall short on that.
yeah.
The other thing is annual land monitoring reports and have them put in the baseline documentation files and sent to the proper, be it LCHIP, LSIP, CELT, land and water conservation.
Definitely.
We don't keep up on those. So those are my
We
two.
have CELT doing a lot of our monitoring
The
on
ones
our
that they hold the
conservation
easements
easements,
on,
yeah.
yeah.
But the other ones, you're right, we used to walk them yearly, we used to walk them and document them ourselves, but things have grown and we haven't had the time to do that, and you're right.
And none of us are 27 anymore.
No, right, we're not. That's right,
Was the
very true.
time.
Very true. So that's kind of fallen to the back burner, and it needs to be at the front burner, yeah.
Yes, and Paul, your comments are right on the mark. We in our meeting with Dave, the two most important items we had were two items that the thing that's missing the most is the trail maintenance and a coordination with DPW on deciding if it's going to be DPW's responsibility or Conservation Commission's responsibility. But the bottom line is we got to get these trails maintained so people can use the properties. Secondly, that we're lacking on monitoring. As you mentioned, we were walking and doing all the monitoring ourselves before. When I got here 15 or 20 years ago, we had half the properties that we have now. So we have a lot more properties,
Right.
a lot more acreage. It can't be done.
A lot of mileage to cover.
Yeah, a lot of mileage. So those two things I think are going to be the primary responsibility, and then just having boots on the ground, just having someone that is walking the properties on a day. I envision this person walking these properties in some sort of Conservation Commission uniform, and just having people see someone on the properties from the town, employed by the town, in itself is going to be a detriment to people maybe doing the wrong thing on properties. I think that's a big part of what I see the person doing is just being around, just being there and walking the properties, kind of being our eyes and ears on what's happening on those properties. So that, and with the two things Paul came up with, is what I'd like to build upon as a foundation for the job. I don't want to get into a lot of ancillary stuff that's just going to take up a lot of time. I think those three core things, if we can get that accomplished, see how much time that's going to take, because those are the three things we need to get done. And then if we find there's extra time for this person, then we can add things accordingly.
Right.
But I think those three things are probably
And,
the most
I
important.
think you'll find, look at these other job descriptions and see what you can borrow and maybe,
Yeah.
fit in too. There might be some things that we didn't think of that we want to add.
Perfect. So I'll send a correspondence after this meeting back out to the commissioners. Paul, if you could just shoot me what we talked about today, and I'll ask people to get to their bottom line so we can get it to Dave, and Dave can work up. We already, I'm not gonna announce it to the public, but we're close to the compensation package for it. We're still almost, we almost got that nailed down. It's gonna be based on a part of the town hall rate structure for people coming into the town hall as a temporary, it's either temporary or permanent part-time position. They have a structure in place. So we're going to jump right into that structure. And once we have it, it's going to be posted here. And then there's a system that municipal jobs get posted statewide, and it'll get distributed to all those. And it might end up being someone that already works here in a part-time application and is going to add time to their schedule. Anything else on that? Okay, so we'll wait to hear from Paul on that, and we'll get something circulated. As far as other business, any commissioners want to bring anything forward? Hearing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion by Paul, seconded by Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? For the record, it is 7:15, and that's the way the meeting should go.